Hey folks, what's going on? My name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games. I illustrate them and I publish them online. But I just finished illustrations for an Eberron adventure, and now I want to cleanse my palette with some landscape illustration. So we've been grabbing up samples of various cool cool photographs of different landscapes around the world, and we're going to convert them into Bob Ross style paintings. So, give me a minute here. I need to check in on my signal. If you're catching this after live stream, skip ahead a minute because I'm going to be doing some tech stuff. I need to change my volume here, bring that down. I need to grab. We don't get the link to the live stream until the live stream actually goes live, which is why you so often see, starting soon, little startup plates. It's because we're editing in the background real quickly what that link actually is that you can come and see what we're doing live. But I'm almost done with that process. I got just a couple more buttons to press, and then we'll be good to go. Chunk. We're doing a palette cleanser. Basically, I just spent 2 years doing illustrations for an adventure in Dungeons and Dragons for the Eberron campaign setting. But now I've finished all that artwork, and but I still have mornings to do artwork. So let's keep doing artwork. Let me fix my my stack. There we go. We should be good to go now. If you find this stuff cool today, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications when we are live in the future. We do artwork like this Monday through Fridays in the morning, and on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturday nights we do game design for Dungeons and Dragons. Once the designing is done, we begin illustrating the next book. So we'll be doing various projects here in the mornings until the next book is ready to go. But for now, we're just going to grab this illustration. So we're going to basically paint this like Bob Ross. I'm going to initially drop this down in the corner here, and I don't see any color personally. So you guys get to watch me figure out my color palette. So I'm going to take this. This is the illustration or the photograph that we've decided to go with. I don't honestly know where it's located. Because I didn't click on that question when I grabbed this off my desktop. Hey, Fernando, it's good to see you. So, yep, I'm really interested in the mountain. I'm interested in these striations here. I'm very interested in that. I like the skyline. I like those clouds. I want to play with this sort of idea. These trees look great. I'm looking forward to translating all of this stuff into Bob Ross stuff, but we'll make changes. We will loosely follow this format of composition, but we're going to, instead of having these trees here, I think what we're probably going to end up doing is trimming this thing down a little bit to probably something more like this, and then having something built out into the foreground, like something going on like this, to create this neat little teeter-totter effect going on. But I don't know necessarily what that is yet, so we'll figure it out. But we don't have to worry about that right now. We're going to duplicate Bob Ross's wet-on-wet techniques. So when we build this illustration, we're going to be using the tool brush kit that I created. Oops, I'm on the wrong screen. There, and now let's get that reference is dropped in, and there we go. Okay, cool. Now we're good to go. Thanks for asking, Fernando. My throat's still a little choppy, and I've got some decongestion going on, but I am going to live. Yeah. So I don't see any color, so we got to start. We use photos and good paintings for color references. So I can see here that we got a nice deep, rich blue, and it fades out with clouds here, but then here it fades into a very pale, almost green. There, that's a good curve. So we're gonna go from here to here in just passing layers. So let's start at the top and work our way down to here. I want to grab this darker, richer tone here in the middle. going to start off like this. A little bit like, yeah, something like that. Just fill in some of the gaps. And now I'm going to switch to a smudge tool. I have on my Patreon, which is linked down below. This is the tool set that I use for all my landscapes. It's about, I think, 18 brushes. But this is this smudge brush here is if we actually use this brush, it'll show really well with this. So let's zoom in real quick. This is the cloud brush that I built. This is what it looks like if I use it as an ink tool. You can see that there's all sorts of layers, different layers of opacity and little jags that jut into the structure itself. So when I use it as a smudge tool, it's really good at diffusing because it's grabbing pixels at each of these different opacity layers grab a different percentage of pixels on the canvas. If it's 100% color density, then it grabs 100% of the pixels. If it's only 30% density, it only grabs 30% of the pixel and drags it with you. So there's a central mass of 100% of the pixels being moved, but all along the perimeter, it's all the way down to 10%. So I'm leading a trail. The forward trail drags just a little bit of color and smears it across whatever's ahead of it. The mass of it grabs the bulk of whatever's in there and carries it with you. And then the tail end, the light 30 to 10%, is dragging out and like spreading out the pixels behind it. So if I use say a 30% smudge tool, that central mass is only grabbing 30%, and out here it's only grabbing 0.5%. So as a result of that, I can do with this different layers from the center, dragging pixels at different speeds and different densities. When I swirl it, the front becomes the back, the center becomes the edge, and it disperses pixels really, really nicely. So I'm just going to start off here just by doing little Bob Ross style circles in the sky, just to start blending this stuff together. And I'm at I'm at a 50% strength, 50% strength brush right now. So anyone that wants to do this stuff can do this stuff too. It's not difficult. You just got to know how to do it. So I'm going to increase the size of the brush and reduce the strength of the smudging, so I can start blending this in a little bit better. And I'm going to be a little bit more aggressive and quick about it. It'll take a few minutes for me to get the diffusion down, but I could do a digitally precise gradient by choosing one darkest dense color and then the lightest color on the outside edges, and then just press a button, and it would create basically a sunblast of color that would start with the darkest at the top and then diffuse out in a circle to lighter color. But I like doing it manually. It's less perfect, but it's a skill set that I'm developing, and I'm just enjoying the process. I'm basically just pushing the pixels into the canvas, just like Bob would do if he was starting a sky. And now I'm doing more back and forth, a little bit of circle here, but I'm mostly just, because I know the composition is going to drop down to here, and then basically anywhere beyond here, it doesn't really matter. So as I move further down the page, I become less concerned about the blending. It's only at the top that I really have to worry about getting it just on point. So we'll be doing landscapes like this. It's Thursday in the real world today. So we'll work on this one probably till Tuesday next week, and then we'll start up another one. It'll be starting in March next week. So I think I've got a lot on my plate. I've got a lot of projects that I'm working on. So I'm still trying to figure out how am I supposed to balance all my time between the different things that I do. And I'm figuring out. This Eberron project was such a large chunk of my time. I'm still working on it off screen. It's just I don't have any illustrations left to do. So now I'm just on the back end. I'm packaging, and there's a couple modifications, like some fixes I needed to make to maps and stuff that I noticed while I was loading things in. So I'm basically at the packaging stage of releasing the product. So the adventure, there's actually one page, the intro and basically author notes at the very beginning of the book. That's the only thing that I haven't finished yet, and I think I'll do that this weekend to completely permanently cap off, like completely finish the PDF. It's done, and then next week I'll spend packaging the assets into a zip folder, so when you purchase it, you can download all the maps and the tokens and stuff with it. This is feeling pretty good. Let's up the size of the brush a little bit. I'm gonna brush across here a little to spread that sunshine out a little bit. What's up? I need to fix my screen. Hey, Gabby. Just took your focus meds and waiting for the focus to come in. Right on, gal. There we go. So this is Thursday nights. On Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, I do game design. So I'll jump on stream for a few hours and build something with you guys. For the past couple months, on Mondays and Thursdays, I've been doing Spelljammer, Eberron, Orbital campaign prep for a new game I'm going to run on my Discord. But tonight, I want to start devoting more time to the color mana system. I want to get that book published, so I'm going to spend time tonight working on the color mana variant of the Bard. I did the Barbarian on Saturday Saturday last week. This past Saturday, quote unquote. You know what? I've got this tilt going on with it. I'm going to duplicate this layer. Let's see what this does. Free transform. Could not transform selected pixels because it. What is going on with my music? You doing okay here, buddy? I seem stable. Okay. Let's do that. Huh. There's something weird going on. There we go. Something's changed about my tools. I don't understand. The A button isn't working the same. Free transform, thank you. Flip horizontal. Just merge that down. What's up? I keep being distracted by games. I need to go. I have many things to work on, but I haven't made progress on any of them in like a week. I get it. I totally get it. Video games are very good at providing immediate reward for small activities. You have to gamify our lives so that achieving goals in our life is somehow some sort of dopamine release. I'm very fortunate to have begun art in an age before the internet, where endless distractions are prevalent. Oh, I like how that feels. I'm going to merge this down. I'm going to make another layer real quick here and drop that in. There, that's feeling really, really good now. Spend a little bit, yeah, I want to spend time on this guy to make it feel good before we move on to the rest of the piece. This is going to anchor everything else. There we go, that feels pretty good. Okay, that's a real fine way to start. Sky. Next up, I'm going to grab that cloud color there. I'm going to look for consistency. Bring this brush down. Okay. I think I can pull off those. I think I can pull off those stratos. Let's see. Hold on. Study that cloud a little bit more. That's an interesting little wisp. It's got this neat. Let's play with that. Let's play with that initially. Go here. 100% brush. Let's go just around. Now I'm pulling at the under edge. I'm leaving the top edge of this curve pretty much alone, but underneath it I'm starting to fade away on it. So you can see here how it fades down and then breaks. So I'm creating that gradient fading effect underneath by the same technique we just did with the skies, by pulling down and smudging out the bottom edge. Up the size of the brush a little bit, pull at it a little bit more. I'm going to tighten it in here, and I'm just going to do little circles to pull at the edges just to give it a little bit of fluff. And I'm going to pull across to wisp it up the size of the brush here to destroy the underside, and then I'm just going to start dispersing it. It goes behind the mountain here, but you can see it's basically dispersed along back here. It just basically disappears. Then we got more coming in along here. You have here, and then here, and then here, and then here. It's all migrating this way. And you can see this is ahead of it. This is the same here. Like this here is like a more distant faded version of what this is here. This is a more condensed, like it's breaking up. After it gets over the mountain, it's like the mountain breaks its current, and now the pattern's starting to disperse. So I want to keep that idea in mind while we're building this. Like this mountain might be breaking these clouds up into basically causing them to dissipate, which might be why there's so much water here at the base of it, because if this is breaking clouds as they hit the top of the mountain, when the clouds break up, that's when they let the rain go, and then the clouds lighten and thin, and the water dumps onto the mountain and flows into the river. That's ecology. That's how ecology works. So yeah, I'm just going to pull at this a lot down here. That'll probably do. And now I'm pushing the pixels back towards the central mass of the cloud to further disperse the pixels. And I feel like I want a little bit of a little wisp going on down here. Break that up a little bit. Pick those up a little bit. Push those in. There we go. Let's make another little mess over here. Up the strength a little bit. Push this in. Yeah, I'm gonna have probably a few months of gap between what am I trying to say? Now that the Eberron adventure is wrapping up, and probably next week I'll have it published, and that frees up my evenings as well. So I'm going through a pretty sharp transition of like how I'm spending my time, like what my focus of production is going to be. So I've got a few books, more than a few books that I want to build out and get to the point where I can start illustrating them, and I want to build and run that campaign on my Discord for Spelljammer Eberron. Yeah, I think that's the stuff that I've got going on right now. Let's do that. Let's take another one down here, more like a little zigzag wiggle pattern that we're going to end up dispersing. What's up? What do you normally? I think I'm missing part of my window here. There. Okay, let me catch what you text. I keep getting talk about games. I don't have a hard time limit, but it's been 2 months. I should have read through the 69 pages, but I keep burning out. I can feel you. What do you do when you normally have true free time? And it's hard not to bully myself when I fail to meet my expectations by my own read. Yeah, you know, you're at where you're at, and you can't hate on yourself for being who you are where you're at. It's commendable that you want to improve. What do I do when I truly? I like TV shows. I like watching TV. I'm not much of a walker, but I like doing some calisthenics and doing some walking around. D&D is a multi-layered hobby that I get to design books for and illustrate about, but actually, actively run. I play in a Crystal Strahd campaign every other Saturday night. We're 7th level right now. I'm playing a Divine Soul sorcerer using using white and green magic. So Selesnya style, worshiping Selune, the goddess of the moon. So she's got a real white-green vibe about her. So Selesnya felt right for her. But yeah, I've been enjoying the Night of the Seven Realms, Night of the Seven Kingdoms, whatever that is, for the Game of Thrones prequel. That's been a lot of fun. And I'm a big fan of The Pit. That's playing on HBO right now. The ER Room drama that each season's one day of a shift. Lots of movies. I'm not a movie file, but I certainly enjoy consuming good movies. There's always more movies to catch up on. And cooking, I like cooking my food. So going to the grocery store and picking up food is fun. But playing D&D, designing for D&D, and artwork for D&D is a large portion of my free time. let's add in another thing like this. I'm going to use a really rough texture. See how that really rough texture creates that sort of striation feeling that we have down in the cloud here. I'm going to work with that a little bit, see if I can make it happen. I just want to pay attention to the drift and direction of the sky to try to guide the smudges that I make. Trying to think is read a page a day or go outside and walk just for 5 minutes. Yeah. Absolutely agree. If I duplicate this layer, oops, hold on. I wanted to put that in a separate layer. Let's cut that free. Cut, paste, and then duplicate it. That's the sort of look that I think I want to look for. Close. All right, let's merge these together. Actually, let's duplicate this layer and mess with it so I don't delete it. I'm going to take the smudge tool with an eraser, and I'm going to use 20% erase, and I'm going to match angle and just cut across here rapidly like that. Not bad. Merge down. Now I'm just doing I'm doing a figure eight pattern. But while I'm doing it, I'm bouncing. So it's kind of like it's kind of like this. I'm doing like this little bounce, skip, scratch. With the eraser here, so that I can not have two. I have lines that we've made that go hatch pattern this way and this way, but now I'm using a light eraser and just zigzag, like doing these little figure eights here to scratch and erase at the pixels that we put down, so it destroys any ladder patterning. So ladder patterning is, let's see if we have an example of it in here. I've already done a pretty good job dispersing the pixels. Yeah, I'm not. Next time I see some ladder patterning, I'll show you. But it's when the brush. Hold on, maybe I can pull it off here. Nope, wrong brush. See, okay, that's ladder patterning, where you can see like it has this skip step, where it's not like this is smooth. But if I go really fast, if I skip my pen across the surface of my board, I'm moving the pen faster than the canvas can ping it. So instead of this is a slow rate of movement, so it's able to detect all the millimeters, micromillimeters of movement with each ping, because the ping rate is fast. And create this skip pattern effect. I'm moving the brush faster than the board is pinging signal off the pin to get its position. So that's how you can see that was so fast that this is how much space is between each point register on the ping. Like it's going ping, 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 ping. But if I'm making more distance than that ping rate, I get gaps. So I can use that technique when I'm erasing, because erasing will do the same thing. It'll just create this skip step of erasure, and with the erasing, and when you just becomes mottled, and it doesn't mottled, mottled, and so it doesn't take on any particular form.
but it breaks down with that modeling effect.
So I'm just going to slash through here for a little bit. Just be really aggressive about moving the eraser. And I'm only at 20%, or I'm at, 20%. I only have a 20% strength eraser. So every time I skip across, I'm only taking away 20% of the pixel information on that space. As a result, it thins it a little bit in the shape of a pockmark. And as I crisscross over these patterns, you can see that the shape is opening up and it's breaking down into little segments that remain between the spaces created by the laddering of the eraser. And I already, I'm establishing this is our direction of flow like this. So when I'm crossing through here, I want to try to pay attention to that general direction, that cross pattern of like this and like roughly like this. That's roughly my cross pattern. So when you look at it, you zoom in a little bit. See, it has a similar ribboning effect going on. Like how it's breaking up into, like in the cotton. It has that sort of same feeling to it. There. So now I'm going to leave that as my base. And we'll stack some. Looks like we have a little bit of cumulus stuff going on up in here. So let's go ahead and grab like this. And then we'll just use our normal dispersing techniques of dumping in pixels. And then lightly tufting the leading edge and then disperse the tail edge. And now we're going to drop down the opacity down to a strength of 40. And I can hack at its look as well. Break it up a little bit. Yeah, it feels pretty good. There, that's the sweet shit right there. Look at that. That feels so good. God, that feels good. Let's do another little jag down here. So all these custom brushes I'm building, I built them specifically to be able to do these things. This allows me to roughly duplicate Bob Ross's wet on wet technique. These are all his techniques. I'm just modifying them slightly for the digital medium and how the tablet works differently from real canvas and pixels. But you can see I can just create these effects just as easily. You just have to understand what it is that you're looking at and what kind of pattern, what kind of brush techniques can you use to create that sort of language or texture or whatever it is. And we'll grab some more little stuff up here and just blast that out here a little bit. Thank you. Timely timer. What time is it? 7:17. I've still got 40 minutes to go. What's going on with my music? Why'd you stop, buddy? There we go. Like that. Yeah, I love Bob Ross paintings. I watched the original episodes back in like 1980 till 1980 whatever. Back in the days of Saturday morning cartoons, his show was on before Saturday morning cartoons started. So as a 5-year-old, I'd get up at 6:30, go downstairs, start playing with Legos and watch Bob Ross, and then Dungeons and Dragons would come on CBS at 7. Like Mighty Orbots was at no, it was 7:30 was Bob Ross. That's right. 7:30 was Bob Ross. 8 o'clock was Dungeons and Dragons. 8:30 was Mighty Orbots on, I think it was on ABC. From there, I think Smurfs happened, and I did not like the Smurfs very much. But it was either Smurfs or Muppet Babies, and that was not. That's like go get some cereal and have breakfast. Did not like those cartoons. There we go. Have you learned that technique from him? Yeah. His method for building clouds is he drops some pigment in, and then basically you work it into the canvas by doing little circles and figure 8 patterns. All his stuff is just either it's either stippling, which is dropping like doing spots of paint, right? This is stippling like this and creating a pattern out of it, which we do with our brushes, with our leaf brushes. He does it by bending the brush, the hair, the actual brushes of the hair. When you hit in different ways, it causes the brushes to bend in different ways. And when you get really good with your tools, you can feel how the brushes hit at different angles. You know roughly the kind of feeling you're going to leave behind after going tap, tap, tap. You get that way with your digital brushes too. They're no different. You'll get a feel for how they'll leave patterns for you to build with. And then his other technique is smudge, where he grabs and drags pixels. We do that with the smudge tool. And we build specific different brushes to have a different default texture or like a pull effect on the smudge brush and the erasers. So all the techniques that I use with my all the techniques that I use with my digital brushes are built off of the type of movements and strokes that Bob does on his wet on wet canvas. I've even paused frame and then polarized images of like him doing like a stamp for like the first stamp of a brush, getting that screenshot, polarizing it so it's just black and white, and then converting the black stuff into a brush. Which one did I do that with? This brush here, I actually pulled off of a Bob Ross brush stroke. I reshaped it, but this modeled pattern here, like this here is a hairbrush hitting pretty much dead on, while this brush, like this mark here, is the horse hair on the brush starting to bend, and here's like a little clump of them knotted together. So blah, took that. That's a shape. That's like a Bob Ross dab. Let's switch back to what we were working on so we stay on point. Job. Have you created all your brushes in that way? Yeah. Every brush in this set is unique in my own, except for the hard round brush. This is a hard round brush. It's a default brush that comes with Photoshop, but all the rest of the tools that are in here, even the square I made. And the soft round brush, that is also Photoshop, and it basically did what we do with our background. Like if you get like a really large, see, it creates like this sun effect. It's very dispersed. But yeah, other than the soft round brush and the hard round brush, every brush that's in this set is stuff that I've built specifically to do these type of paintings. I think what I'm going to do is when I finish this painting, I'm going to put it on Photoshop. I'm going to put it up on my Patreon. I'll provide a high-res JPEG I'll provide the original PSD, the file that like the actual file that I'm working on here, and I'll include the brush set, the ABR brush set, and I'll put it on my Patreon and like make it $2. I'll make it available for free for anyone that's paying for my Patreon. How about that? We'll do that. I want to grab this and drop the opacity on that. And then one more layer on top of that. I have the benefit of working in layers, so I can break the clouds apart into different into different layers for me to be able to pick at them like this. And again, I'm just hitting this with a really light eraser, just zagging it through there to break up the form, and that feels pretty good. Let's see. Okay, so that's gonna be our sky. I think that's good enough for now. We might add some more noise around here or something, but I think I like how that sits. Let's take the skyline here and actually let's expand it. There, that feels pretty good. Okay, we'll collapse the sky. And now we'll get into the mountain. Always start with the darkest color, and then we work our way forward. So in this instance, we have these really dark pocs here, and we have these medium spaces here. They're very close. This is really interesting. That dark and this light. We'll work on that light a bit. I think, yeah. Let's go with this base layer here. We're gonna drop it in here somewhere. I'm going to further retreat the illustration down here towards the corner. We're gonna use my mountain chisel. This is what this looks like. And naturally, it has a lot of hard point edges on it. It's hard point edges. So but it's really all this these modeled effects and breaks in here is really good for doing mountain surfaces, rock surfaces in general. That and my mountain razor there. And there, these brushes work together. You can see the breakdown here. Shadow effect here. So like this is like this. Like a toilet seat or a throne. And here's where the light is hitting. So this is in shadow here. And this is in highlight. So this is in highlight, but this is in shadow. So that means that this shape here is roughly like this. Over here, and this bends down like this, and it falls in the shadow. So that tells me like overhead, that's like this, and then this other mountain is like here, and they're both on the same base that goes out like this. Anyway, that's the thought. So when I'm building that, I want to keep those ideas in mind. Just kind of let that pour out a little bit. We'll cut off the peak. Break that down a little bit. I need a hard round edge for the erasing. I want to smooth out the edge here. I like where this is leading. This will probably be irrelevant in the large scheme of things, but I want to pay attention to how far out into the forest and other landscape features that are in the foreground, but we know it's here. So we want to pay its respects. The nice thing about breaking these, like the sky, the mountain, the tree line, the front, like the ridge, breaking all these things down into their own layers is I can manipulate and move them around, like parallax them a little bit to move them into a more aesthetically pleasing position and then further modify them. I have a lot of flexibility in that front. Cool. Okay. Let's take the same smudge brush that we used for the sky. I'm using about 50% strength eraser here. Just gonna pull up these pixels a little bit here. I'm gonna pull up them here. I want to actually use a lighter. I want to use a lighter touch. Let's put it down to around 30%. Start pulling at here. I can actually break this out. Cut, paste. Get rid of those burrs. Work that in. Disperse it. Just doing basically little X's here. And I'm following the contour of the mountain here to slide down. And then, so this angle is here. We keep that edge here, but its cross pattern is like this. So the edge is this way, so it's perpendicular. The edge is this way, I go perpendicular. The edge is this way, I go perpendicular to help create that boxiness for rock.
here. I'm gonna up the strength of the eraser a little bit to 50%, just to pull out the pixels a little bit stronger. Chun, 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 chun. There we go. I think that's the only actual brush that I created by polarizing one of Bob's brush strokes. The rest of them I made freehand. I think that's actually answering your question. Like the cloud brush I built by basically stacking up 5% layers of a weird, just like a semi-organic, like ovalish shape. Let's get the reference out of the way here. I had a different mountain chisel brush originally that was a polarized mountainside for Bob, but I replaced that with these newer brushes maybe like 3 years ago. Let's keep working this down. I like this fade out from here will help make the mountains feel very, very real. Now I'm basically just doing. I'm using the angles and contours of the mountain. I'm just blending this in by zigzagging it, grabbing at the edge and then pulling in, grabbing at the mass and pulling out, from outside the mass in, from inside the mass out, inside the mass out, inside the mass out, outside the mass in, so I can zigzag, jag back and forth like that to pull on it, and then to blend it out. We just go back and forth like this. Just like Bob does when he blends out his mountains at the bottom. It's the exact same technique. Grab from the top and pull down, from the densest pixels to the thinnest. Canadian geese outside saying hello. Hello, Canadian geese. We pull, then we blend. Feels pretty good. We'll take this same mass and we'll work it in. I'm still figuring out how that striation is going to work, so that'll be fun. That'll be fun for us to figure out. Right now, just grabbing. Actually, little jags in here are fun. There, blend that all in. Just working our way down the mountain. What time is it? 7:37. I still got 20 minutes. We got 20 minutes, a little less than 20 minutes left. So we can just blend this out. We'll get started with the mountains. They'll look pretty good. And then tomorrow we'll continue, work our way down the mountains into the hills. We'll probably get into the tree line tomorrow. And then Monday we'll figure out the foreground. And by Tuesday it'll probably be done, unless I find something to find some way to complicate the piece or increase the complexity, more accurate. There, that feels pretty good. Get that blended in there. That feels good. Reduce the size of the brush and reduce the intensity down to only 20%. Work that down. And larger brushes to work that out. There we go. Very good. And we'll box that in there. Good. Now we'll do the next mountain. Actually open that up a little bit. Same technique, just pull it down towards the base of the painting. I want to make sure this is full density here in front of the mountain behind it. There we go. I like the look of that. Nice. Let's do that. Pull that down. Bring it in. There. I'm going to actually merge these down. Good. Oops, wrong brush. That feels pretty good. And then we're going to do the same thing again for the lower mountain and the foreground here like that. So you can create that layering effect, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that. It's not as fast as Bob. Just being able to freehand an actual physical space with these type of tools, it's gonna be able to move a lot better. There's not as much of a tactile sensation involved with the pixels. The pen and the board provides a little bit of a tactile experience of moving the brushes around, but I don't get any kind of actual like resistance or pressure from the brush tools themselves. They're zero resistance. So all the resistance that I feel is basically me linking the visual effect of the pixels being moved to the action in my hand. So it's a false kinetic relationship that's not based on pressure sensitivity, but just visual input to link the angle of my brush, the strength of the force of pressure on the brush changes its strength as well. So a lighter touch is a lighter fade, a lighter smudge, and a heavier one is more brutal and pushes the pixels around more aggressively. These are just different brush settings that you can place on the brushes. For whatever reason, that feels better. go, and just work that down into the base. I'm just about done with this here. There. That fade effect, just naturally fading into the canvas as we move down, helps create that atmospheric perspective where things closer to the ground are going to have more things overlapping in front of it and more dense air. The lower to the ground you get, the denser the air is, right? That's why high altitude sickness is a thing. So the further up you get, the less air there is. The clearer the top of the mountain is in less dense air than the bottom is in thicker density air. So that's why we have this fading effect at the base while it stays sharp at the top. There we go. Plus, great mood.
So far, so good. So what, man? I'm liking this. Let's grab at. Let's grab these things and see if we should be doing something cheeky. Let's bring our reference back in. Do I want to keep them like that? I kind of like this effect. I want it to be visible, but I want it to be, nah, you got something for your art. Let's just leave it like it is. But we can drop the opacity on it a little bit and then add a new burst. No. Yep, that's what we want. Duplicate that layer. That feels good. I like that. Merge that down. Just pull out a little bit. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. That feels good. Let's see. Okay, so we got our mountains.
So this is the base dark color that we're using. So now we want to pull this, which is a neutral.
See, it stands out real easy against the mountain, but it's not a highlight yet. So what I can do is take our chisel. Start layering in some effects here. And I don't know how this is going to turn out. I'm not used to this type of rock pattern, so I'm going to have to fuck around with this for a while and find out what works. But that's the fun of experimentation, and we have the latitude to do that. I always want to use 100% eraser during this process, so that when I erase things, see how it's creating that sort of ridge-like effect. So I can have this follow along the contours of the rock, and then I can drop this razor in here and break up that pattern, and it starts creating little lines, little shapes form inside of here. And this particular has this step effect going on here. It's got these vertical rings all throughout these mountains, which is why I'm using my brush sideways, like this, restoration pattern effects. And then every time there's like one of these little bumps, that can become a ridge that I work. It's down here like that. Here. Let's have a look. Cool. And we'll do highlights over this. So we're only really worrying about what does the shadow look like inside this mess. Break that up a little bit. I think we're starting to get the groove. Break that up like that. So I use the add and erasing tools together to create these negative spaces where the shadows sit. This big vertical drop here. This sounds a little chaotic. Yeah, I'm tired of that track. Dot this in here like that. We're just playing with shapes and forms and just creating some negative space. So I'm just kind of fucking around and seeing how what the rock says to me, what it thinks. Hey, what's up? Oops, screen. I love how in the end I don't realize that the mountain highlights are made with the same brush. Right on, man. They're pretty versatile. They're pretty versatile brushes. They do a pretty good job. I'm just going on feels right now. It's just like vibe. Whatever the brush wants to do, wherever it wants to dance, I'm just gonna let her go. And I can switch over to the chisel and erase with the chisel as well. Add in that shape, and I can chisel it out a little bit. Add that shape back in. Chisel it out a little bit more. It takes a while. It's not as, I mean, Bob's technique is a lot faster than this because his pressure sensitivity and the inconsistency of the paint that he puts onto his palette allows him to, like drifts like it drifts along the surface, but there's the palette knife that he uses to do mountains is an infinitely more versatile and nuanced tool than this brush shape that I'm pixeling with. It's the same basic techniques that he uses, but he has actual physical environment. There's so much more control that you have over these variables. I'm having to do them basically manually by like changing the stick and adding and erasing and adding and erasing like this to create the skip, like the modeled skip effect that he gets from his palette brush. I haven't duplicated that effect yet here in Photoshop specifically. I can make the look come across right, but the technique that he uses is very different than what I have to use with adding and subtracting. Again, because his brushes are so much more, they're an actual physical space where he can kinetically engage with and change pressure at an angle. I don't have that versatility. But the effect ends up looking pretty cool regardless. It just takes a lot more adding and subtracting to get there. So we're creating all these organic shapes that we're scratching at. Yes, they're versatile. However, I never imagined that the brush that creates the shape would be so asymmetrical. Right on. It has a definite left-right feeling to it. That's for sure. You'll notice it after a while. I'm mostly just okay with it. Race at it. I got like maybe 5 minutes left. Oh shit, yeah, I'm out of time. All right, we're gonna go ahead and hit the brakes here for now. This is where we're at. Let's add in a little bit more density here. Now I'm starting to see it. And that's my timer. All right, I gotta cut out of here, but I'm gonna be back tonight. Tonight we're gonna work on the Color Mana spell point variant rules instead of Spelljammer. We're going to review and implement changes and update the Bard for use with Color Mana. So we'll be doing that tonight, probably like around 6:30. And then I'll be back tomorrow morning to continue with this illustration. Hey, thanks a lot, Fernando. And Gabby, thanks a lot, guys, for hanging out with me. And anyone else that's new to the channel, thanks a lot. Like, subscribe, bell icon, notification. And I'll be back tonight and tomorrow. Cheers.